Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever you like. My name is Norris, and I'm the host of Real Talkative TV.
Everybody feel impressed when they meet me. He keep his shit tight, knitted very neatly. He move discreetly, it ain't no secret. Where your swag at? My shit right here.
Today's episode is going to be very short, and I'd like to say sweet, but it's going to be somewhat bitter. But only a tad bitter, and I'll explain to you why. One word: Sony. Sony. This is all Sony's fault. It's Sony's fault. Everything I'm about to say is Sony's fault. I recently saw the movie Morbius. Yeah. Jared Leto is back to Leto us all down. You see what I tried to do there? Jared Leto is back to give us his take on acting, and Sony Pictures, or whatever they're calling themselves, are back to give us their take on giving movies. I guess at this point they're kind of in a race to see, like, how bad can we really make a film? We've made films before. We own Spider-Man, so Disney and the MCU would never fully have him. So we've already done this. But what else can we do to further debunk the success of anything any Marvel character that we own could possibly have? They have yet to fail at these attempts. And Morbius is no different. Morbius starts off borderline incredible. Now, hear me out. The beginning of Morbius, from our introduction to Michael Morbius as this doctor who's been fighting a blood disease his entire life. He's been trying to find a cure for it his entire life. And in doing so, he was able to invent, or I guess invent is the right word, or at least give to the world synthetic blood. And it's this little blue blood shit that's fake blood that people use, and it's been saving lives, countless lives throughout the history of its creation. But he still has this disease that is slowly but surely killing him and his best friend Milo. So he is at this point desperate to find anything to prevent this from happening. So he goes to some little rainforest or something, and then there's a cave, bats. It all comes together, and he finds a cure, basically. Long story short. Finds the cure turns him into a vampire. So his first act as this vampire is he kills 6 people. He kills 6 people in the most PG-13 way possible. But he kills them on a boat. He wakes up, realizes what he's done, and he's not happy at all. So then Michael Morbius decides, hey, this is a curse. This isn't a cure. I can't have this out in the world. I can't have myself doing this. I have to fix it. Fuck it. So his friend Milo discovers that he does have this cure or curse, whatever you want to call it. And of course, because Milo's dying from the same disease, he wants the shit. Now, Morbius does realize that this curse has essentially healed his disease. So, he is cured at this point. He just now has another issue where he has a craving for blood, specifically vampire. So he uses his synthetic blood just to find out that the synthetic blood, its effects and its actual helping him with his craving, the effects of that is going down. So there's a timeline on when the synthetic blood isn't going to work anymore. So now we have a bigger problem. He doesn't want to result back into that vampire crave, He doesn't want to become the guy who just killed 6 people on a boat. So he's trying to figure out what he can do. And then the movie just simply says, you know what? That was a good idea, but fuck it. Let's see what we can do this shit. And it just goes everywhere. There are scenes that are just, everything looks paced together. You could tell they did a lot of reshoots. You could tell that some actors weren't even there at the same time, if that makes sense. Of course, when they're all on screen, they had to be there, but you could just tell. It's just like certain days we brought you in, hey, just do this scene real quick, even though we shot the majority of it last month. Like the side characters, Tyrese and the other cop tries to be that funny guy, and Tyrese is trying to be the serious cop. I feel like they should have switched roles. Tyrese should have been the one being more comical, and then the other guy probably should have had a more serious tone. Because even though he tried to do his little comical version of a police officer or whatever they are, DA, some type of agents, FBI, something. But even though he tried to do that comical role, version of that role, I feel like he would have been better as the serious cop who just happened to have some sarcasm that ended up being funny every now and then. Like it just they missed that. I don't know what happened there in the casting, but they missed that. But nonetheless, the movie then just becomes a CGI mess filled with a bunch of randomness and just things that weren't really entertaining to watch. I mean, there was a child beside me. Not, it's not my child, but there was a child beside me, and probably about 50 minutes in, I start to hear snores, and I look, and sure enough, the baby was asleep. I mean, not snoring sleep, like snot probably running out his, you know what I'm saying, if I look. But he was asleep. So that should tell you something. If the kid is falling asleep, come on. What really makes this movie terrible, in my opinion, is just the directing, the pacing, hell, even the acting. Like Jared Leto starts off decent, and then it's like he remembers he's Jared Leto, but like he wants to be remembered as the version of himself that critics claim he is. Just this awful person who is pretty much exaggerated, or just, I guess, what's the word? When you're overhyped, there you go. This awful, overhyped actor who just fails to deliver. And honestly, that's what happened here. I mean, I went to see this because, of course, it has connections to Spider-Man and the MCU, and it's based off of a Marvel comic, so regardless, I'm there. But you can just tell that whoever did this and the people at Sony, it's all about the money for them. And that's fine, get your money, I get it. We all work, so it is what it is. But you would make a lot more money if you just give fans what the fuck they want. And it's not this. So, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Don't waste your money on this movie. It's a waste of time. It really has no purpose. And then the end credit scenes are even worse. They're trying their hardest. Every single studio wants to do what the MCU did these last 10 years. So, keep that in mind. But they're trying their hardest to mimic that, and it's just not working. It's not as exciting. It's just like, whatever, bruh. Like, after a while, I was ready for that movie to be over. And it's only like 2 hours and some change, I think. Or it may not even be a full 2 hours. I'm not sure. I'll have to fact check that. But either way, for it to be a shorter movie, I was really, really ready for it to be over. So, yeah, there's that. So all in all, what do I give Morbius? I give that mug a 4 out of 10. They tried, but not hard enough. But if you like this review, you'd like to see more, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. You would really appreciate it after a while. And we'll be back for more. So good morning, good evening, good night, whatever you like. My name's Norris. Toodaloo!